Ooh, that was crispy.
Welcome, we're back.
We're back. Welcome back to Bacon Bits. I'm your host, Cabot Bingham, and co-host, Corey Sylvia.
What's up?
It's been so long, I grew a beard. But we have a lot of really exciting news and stuff to talk about today, specifically relating to Nitro Rallycross, what we've been up to, some of the stage events we participated in, and some more cool stuff to talk about. So let's just dive right into it. What do you say?
Let's do it.
So let's start off with what we've been up to. Last December, I believe, or even or maybe a little before that, we participated in the Olympus Stage Rally, and that was awesome. That was my first stage rally experience, so I learned a lot. We also had some of the gnarliest conditions you could expect for stage, just minus ice and stuff like that. But we had like torrential rains and terrible visibility, lots of fog, lots of heavy forest. So we had to do a lot of, crazy stuff to survive, but we did, and we ended up P3 in our class, which was pretty awesome.
In the first ever stage rally.
Yeah, Corey, my first ever
myself.
stage, and Corey's first time being a co-driver.
First time ever being a competitor in a car, actually, for me.
Yeah, so we owe a lot of that success to Dirtfish and OZ Rally Pro, who taught us a lot about the co-driving and what it takes to write proper pace notes and how to do recce.
Yeah.
But there was so much more involved with stage rally than I ever had anticipated, which made it really exciting and really challenging. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a crazy experience. I mean, it's not something I ever thought I'd be getting into with you. But as the last 3 years it kind of progressed, this opportunity came up, and I was a spotter for you at the 24-hour race.
Yeah, with
you also podiumed in.
The Thunder Hill. We also got third with that.
So yeah,
one.
we should talk about that for a second, actually. So when was that?
Well, that was in 2019, in the tail end of the year in the fall. So more probably around October, something like that.
October of 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was who were you racing with? So that was.
I was racing with Tazio Otis, a good friend of mine from go-karting in the Sonoma area, and that was my first real taste of endurance racing for like sports cars and stuff, But yeah, no. So the stage went really well. Again, we had to go through all this crazy fog and all this rain. I got to see a lot of cool people that I had crossed paths with before. Dave Carpathian from Rally Ready, that was cool.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, Dave's awesome. We visited Dave, Texas Dave, down near Austin.
Yeah,
just outside Austin, I think.
Yeah, near Coda.
Yep.
He's got a really cool rally ranch and does a lot of schooling.
Yeah, a little thanks to Dave, to be honest, because in reality he pulled out of the race.
Yeah, he did, and he was hell on wheels.
Yeah,
man.
He was very fast. He was basically starting right behind us, and he was extremely fast. And one of the things about stage rally, which we learned, which is really cool, is they have a rating based on the time
speed
that
rating.
your speed rating, which is your overall finish time, and compared to whoever finished P1, right? So, and that's P1 overall, not P1 in class.
Yeah,
if I'm correct. But basically, the way I heard it from Dave was it didn't make sense for him to finish that rally because they had some issues, and it would have brought down his speed rating. So it was a competitive play to basically pull out of that rally in order to save his speed rating.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. That kind of helped us because that gave us a podium. So that was
did.
dope.
And the sponsors loved it, and we had such a good time doing it. We anticipate some more stage events in the future for sure. But touching on some other stuff, we're building a Nitro Rallycross track here in Reno, and that's really exciting for multiple reasons. But mainly, I have a test facility in my backyard. I can bring a lot of the go-karters around the Northern California, Reno area up and into rallycross and kind of grow the sport from my home base. So that's exciting, and it also helps Nitro because then we get some more West Coast based events, and that'll be good for the series.
Yeah, so on the Nitro aspect, we did get some communication from Nitro, which is good. Not much we can say, but obviously what's been said already is that you have a combustion series coming in this year. Late this year is when it's going to be starting. Probably 5 rounds, I think. And then come 2022, there's going to be an electric series. So let's touch on that. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the
our
specs of the electric
friend
car.
Buddy Rice sent us some really cool stuff about the electric series, and basically we have the FC1X, the future of rallycross, right? And the sale price for these vehicles is between 360,000, 385,000 pounds. So whatever that equates to in US dollars, more like 400 plus. But these are really exciting vehicles because, again, they're all electric. They're all-wheel drive. They're going to have significantly higher torque output as well as horsepower at the end of the day. They're similar to the other ICE cars in the sense that they have tubular chassis, steel roll cages, carbon composite chassis or tub, carbon composite side protection for driver. There's a lot of the same stuff, made of Kevlar for the wheel arches and stuff like that to protect the car and whatnot.
There's some of the cool stuff. So
Yeah, here's the specs here are interesting.
One of the things that I read somewhere was it was 1,000 horsepower, wheel brake horsepower.
Essentially, yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see how the teams go about testing this stuff and being
All-wheel
able to put that
drive.
power and torque to the ground, with the loose surfaces. But
So what are your thoughts on the migration from combustion to electric? So obviously it's a hot topic, a lot of with race car drivers. But I personally like it.
yeah, you're a tech guy.
Yeah, because I'm Tesla fan. I like those types of things. So
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts overall on the Switch?
I mean, I'm always going to love the sound and feeling of the ICE car, especially with the rallycross stuff. You get the anti-lag systems, which are super cool, and they have these big 2-foot fireballs coming out every time you shift. And when you're off the throttle, it just sounds like a total ruckus, behind you, a massive rolling IED, essentially.
Right.
But with the introduction of electric, I'm very excited, primarily because it actually brings the manufacturers back together and allows them to promote the sport. We saw that the electric movement really started, probably 2 or 3 years ago in the eyes of the manufacturers, where they're like, let's start producing consumer cars that are electric, and
Yeah.
let's try and eventually incorporate that into racing, because there's the old adage, racing, it helps manufacturers improve and test and prove their cars, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
it's important for the electric stuff to come into the racing industry, specifically rallycross, because I don't see a better fit for an electric vehicle, especially now with the challenges we face regarding battery life and the ability to recharge and that type of stuff. Obviously, that'll eventually get phased out because of technology, but at the moment, rallycross is the perfect platform for it. It's sprint style. It's very quick, super intense racing. So it's, for the technology we have now, it's like the perfect platform.
Yeah, and I kind of heard that there would basically be a hauler that would be the battery system. So essentially I heard that they're going to have an 18-wheel that's just a rechargeable system for multiple cars. So you'll be able to either have packs that you would insert into these cars, I'm assuming, to
Or
replace
like a
the
fast
battery charge, or a
supercharger.
supercharger situation,
Yeah.
or both. Maybe they'll use multiple batteries and also just plug them in. I don't know specifics on that, but I thought that was kind of interesting. I think we've kind of dived a little into, because one of your friends did some cooling for
Yeah.
some batteries.
Yeah, one of my friends, Sebastian, out of where is it?
I don't know.
Sausalito.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he's working on some really cool stuff with liquid cooled batteries, which obviously elongates the life of the battery and the performance of it. So I imagine that'll find its way into racing for sure. But like you mentioned earlier, the 1,000 horsepower figure and the higher torque and the nature of electric motors with that is very exciting. And I think there's a lot of potential for drivers in my position who don't necessarily have the manufacturer backing to find sponsors that are more excited about the electric stuff, right? They want to be a part of this green movement, and they want to be a part of the future, which is by all means the electric racing. So it's the best thing to happen to rally.
Yeah, I mean, we just heard GM. What they are
GM basically committed to to stop creating internal combustion vehicles and be a part of the plan that Joe Biden set forth, which was to create an all-electric workforce for government vehicles. So that's actually good. That helps us as race car drivers a lot. It helps the manufacturers, and it also puts pressure on the government to create this infrastructure instead of forcing consumers to do it. You know, because there's no way you're going to force the die-hard Chevy and LS guys, right? You're not going to force them out of combustion, but the other people, you know, will find it easier to transfer once charging stations are more available and cars that are electric are cheaper and they're offering better fuel economy and that type of stuff, you know, the equivalent. So that's exciting for sure.
Yeah, so back on the nitro side, they're doing this electric thing in next year.
Yep.
But this year we're doing combustion.
Right.
So we're going to be racing basically the same cars that everybody that loves rallycross have seen in the last couple series, whether it was ARX or GRC.
And this isn't the final year of combustion by any means. You know, this will continue to run alongside the electric category for years to come, because there's so much R&D and so many cool vehicles out there. I don't foresee them just falling off the face of the earth, especially the people that paid import taxes and everything to get them into the States, you know, shipping them out of the States.
Yeah, these are pretty expensive vehicles.
Shipping them out does not really help anybody, so we need to keep those alive and running. But again, just to touch on the sponsor side of things, I really think this will bring more money into the sport and therefore more drivers and more talent.
Yeah, I agree. So another, on the nitro side of it, last year you were fortunate enough to race in the Nitro World Games Nitro Rallycross event, which was a single event in Tooele, Utah. Let's talk a little bit about that experience, because we actually have footage that we can show in a little bit of a race that you had with Mr. Ken Block and Timmy Hansen, I believe.
That's some two good drivers right there.
Yeah, and it's good. It was an amazing race. I was fortunate enough to be there. You came pretty close to basically taking the spot away from Timmy. Timmy had to block you in the end, if I remember, which is kind of insane.
I mean, it wasn't an unlawful block, so to speak, but still a block. Let's cue that video.
Yeah, let's watch it. So, all right. So, just again, we're going to talk over this, but
see the starters aborted the start. So these engines, they run 600 horsepower. So the turbos in there, everything gets super hot, and there's a point at which they would want to abort the start. So maybe they held the lights a bit too long there, and we're going to get a restart on that one. So at least we can take a look at the lineup. And of course, we're missing someone, Tess.
Well, we're missing Scott Speed, that blank blue rectangle at the top there. Scott Speed, unfortunately, yesterday he jumped something a little bit long, landed flat, and has come out with a back injury, so has had to withdraw from competition today. But let's focus on that front row. Timmy Hansen, obviously amazing last year. Ken Block didn't get to race last year because his equipment just wasn't ready.
Yeah, the Ford Focus RS-RX, which was the previous car, it just couldn't do the big jump. It had a certain suspension geometry, which meant it couldn't make that gap. Now, Ken had a bit of a sore back at the time. He had a lot of commitments coming up. He was competing in America's Rallycross. He was heading across to the UK for an event, and he had to withdraw. So this year, the Fiesta that he's back in, it's a chassis he loves, and it's got the Focus engine and transmission in it. It's a weapon. It's so fast, that car. And Ken nearly went through yesterday, didn't he? If it wasn't for Travis getting him.
So close. And then Timmy Hansen in that Red Bull Peugeot there on the front of the line. The older of the two Hansen brothers, but it's actually his brother Kevin that's gone through immediately to the final because he got second place yesterday.
Yeah, and it's Kevin that's leading the FIA World Rallycross Championship, where both the brothers compete. They were P1 and P2 for a good part of this season. So, Kevin's got the better of Timmy. Now Timmy's looking to get the better of Cabot Bigham and Ken Block. And a word for Bigham, he's on form. Recently, he's got right on top of that car. Here we go.
Green lights, we're launched, we're racing Nitro Rallycross from the Nitro World Games And Block trying to get around Hansen.
Oh, Hansen up the inside contact there. Block's going to stop it at the apex. Cabot Bigham's gone inside. That's a good move from Bigham. We know this line is slower, but Tess, he's avoided the carnage on the outside of turn 1.
That was an absolutely brilliant move from Bigham. Oh, look at
Timmy
this.
goes Joker. Timmy's gone Joker straight away, so that's in response to losing the place to Ken Block. Bigham coming up on the merge with Ken. They're into the bank bend. You can see the dirt flying. Bigham's up the inside of Ken Block.
And did you see that just at the end there? It looked like Timmy came out super hard out of that Joker. Hope he didn't do any damage to the car, but this was just an amazing move from Cabot Bigham.
Yeah, Bigham made the choice there to go tabletop on the first lap, and he was on the back row. I think it was pretty wise. We reckon it's about 0.7 of a second, the difference between the tabletop line and the standard line. He was hoping that Block and Timmy would get right into each other and cost themselves more time than that. As it goes, Block managed to get out in front of him. Timmy, though, has gone Joker, and he's going to chase these guys down hard now, Tess.
So we need to see what the gap is back to Timmy Hansen. Here he comes. Ah, that's pretty good.
It's 4.5. Now the Joker's about 4. I'm confident they'll send Ken Block on this lap. I spoke to Derek Dauncey this morning, the team boss at Hoonigan Racing Division. I think they'll send Ken to the Joker in response to Timmy. They don't.
He doesn't.
They don't. So
Cabot goes to the Joker.
yeah, they're giving Timmy an extra lap to chase him down, and that must mean they're confident that Ken's got the pace over Timmy. I'm surprised by that.
Let's see where Timmy comes out just ahead of Cabot Bigham. Bigham is playing a great race.
And what's key here is that Bigham was right on the tail end of Ken Block. So Timmy Hansen now, at this point in time, the merge is going to be absolutely side by side. Watch that clock at the top of your screen. If it comes down from 4.5, Hansen is on to take the place from Block.
And that's the turn there. You see him coming into now, where this amazing pass was made yesterday.
Perfect, isn't it? It's wide,
Oh,
it's
it's-
loose gravel, it's a high
it's an
speed area.
opportunity.
Yeah, it was a great block pass, and it was fantastic to see an overtaking opportunity on the circuit. Well, some debris coming off Ken's car there.
Ken's got a...
I think
it's
he's
a tire
delaminating the
problem.
rear tyre, maybe. So he's taken the rear tyres off. Ken's rear left has gone down, so Ken's maybe knocked the tyre off the rim. The gap was down to 2.97 with Timmy Hansen. Ken's going to go Joker, but it's going to be too late.
Oh, disaster for Ken Block there. We didn't see what caused that problem with that rear wheel, but it's going to
Hansen.
take Ken out of contention. But
Yeah,
Hansen is gapping Cabot Bigham right now, but Block's not too far behind.
He's dropped to P3, and remember, only one person goes through, Tess. There's only one place you want to be in this one, and that's the place that Timmy Hansen's in. Got another lap to go. They've all jokered now, so Timmy's just got to make sure he doesn't do anything, have any issues like Ken's had. So we saw yesterday a couple of people were a little bit too sideways. There's a lot of loose dirt out there. You've got to try and keep your wheels straight and avoid pushing tyres off rims.
And you just look at this and you think about the fact that the tires kind of stripped off the back of Ken's car, yet he's still on the back of this group in contention. It shows you what these cars can actually do. It's amazing.
And these drivers too. Ken's out there, 3 boots on the car, and he's still sending it fully. So I wonder if he'll avoid the big jump here, because that would be a bit of a risk. I think you might see Ken take the tabletop, but let's see. His spotters will be on the radio to him. So with a technical like that, Tess, I think you'd be brave to take the big hit.
So Bigham has actually managed to draw Timmy Hansen in a little bit again. So the Andretti Rallycross V.
Ken's going big jump with 3 tyres. Ken Block over the big jump with 3 tyres. Oh!
Ken Block, unbelievable. You can hear the crowd out here go absolutely nuts.
That is wild. That is to take that jump with 3 tyres is brave beyond belief. Ken Block, have it.
Bigham is looking for a way past Hansen. He's got the speed.
This is it. It's now or never, Tess. And look, Timmy goes defensive. So Timmy's gone defensive. It's going to cost him time, but he knows he can block Bigham. Bigham's going to try and get him on the run to the line, but he won't. Timmy flies it to the downside, and Hansen's going to take it.
Smart run there from Timmy Hansen, defended it. Hansen goes through to the final, where he's going to be with his brother Kevin. Cabot Bigham, though, I've got to say, a fantastic race strategically from that team. They really did call it well, and he almost had it. But Ken...
I was going to say, I'm sorry, I can't go over Ken Block, Tess. Like Cabot and Timmy, well done, but Ken Block just sent it over a 100-foot gap jump with 3 tyres. Like.
All right, so let's talk about that track. So that Utah track, right? So obviously everybody knows the 90-foot gap jump, but it also had some other elements to it. So explain some of the other jumps that you encountered. And basically the option was you could take a Joker, 90-foot gap jump, or a tabletop.
Yep.
Talk about those.
Yeah, so obviously the Joker, again, being super narrow, gap jump, super sketch, but awesome. And then the tabletop is actually one of my favorite routes to take. It's super fun because as you exit the tabletop, you have this big bermed wall. It's a left-hander, and it just shoots you right back towards the trajectory of the gap jump. So it's just like having a joker merge, but you're taking these two normal lines, right? So that was exciting. And then one of the particularly weird parts about that track was in the back there, like I was saying, before that left-hand hairpin, there was a double step up. And you typically don't see that in racing with cars. You know, you see that more like a motocross style event. So I had to learn how to time that properly, roll just enough speed to clear it, and get the wheels back on the ground as fast as possible to accelerate. But once you figure it out, it's awesome. You just don't want to be nosing that thing on the second part of the step up. You know, that leads to some pretty expensive and painful days. And then that weird crest that feeds you back onto the straightaway.
And that's where Scott
got a crazy run and then just overshot it, landed to flat, and fractured, I think, 3 vertebrae.
Yeah, let's talk about that situation. So you actually were in that race. You were racing against Scott. It was the Challenger race, I believe, where it's 1-on-1.
Yeah.
And Scott ended up winning that race, but he also ended up breaking his back on the last lap. So that section of the track, you know, as far as from my level of not knowing anything about being a race car driver, you know, to me it looked like, you know, one of the easier jumps of the track.
Oh, for sure. But it was also just like the one with the most character in a way, you know? Because none of us had anticipated, if we overshoot this, we're going to break our backs.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was more like, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to destroy our spine.
Yeah, and I think even Tanner had mentioned that at one moment he had caught basically that he got a great run on it and landed it perfectly. And him and Scott were talking. This is before he broke his back, and Scott had said like, "Oh, how'd you get that so good?" And he just said, "I hooked it up perfectly." And I guess Scott at that moment just hooked it up even better than Tanner did.
That's right.
Prior to that moment, maybe the grip surface, as everybody knows in rallycross, changes all the time. So maybe the grip in that section, you were on the track.
Track maintenance is hard to do on something like that too. You know, with primarily dirt and very limited time between our Challenger races. So it's just the nature of the beast. And obviously, it's great to see that Scott's recovered and that he's going to be back racing. So hopefully, we get to do some more racing together. That's exciting. I think he's back with Subaru. They didn't drop him or anything like that.
No, he's still been doing was in the Gymkhana video there with Travis.
Yeah, he's in the BRZ.
BRZ. Did you watch? So if anybody hasn't checked out, we obviously watch all the shows, and one of the things that we love to watch is the Subaru kind of behind the scenes look. Yeah, called Launch Control, which they did a 2-part series, which was behind Gymkhana.
Yeah.
Amazingly done. I think Subaru does an amazing job in all that content. But basically, they did a lot of behind the scenes, and you saw how much of a struggle Travis had in day one of just having kind of issues with, you know, the filming and timing of everything.
Yeah.
But it was fun to see Scott, who I don't even think, because you haven't seen this yet. This is interesting to me. I kind of want to call Scott out on this. So the first time Scott Speed ever did a donut was at that photo shoot
since his injury.
Ever in his life.
What?
He's never done a donut. So according to the filming, Scott literally said, "I've never done a donut before, guys. Like, just bear with me." And they filmed him basically going out there asking Travis how to do a donut because he had no. Of all the victories, this guy's won.
But that makes sense because Scott's a smart dude. You know, he comes from the Formula car background.
He doesn't want to ruin a tire.
No, but it's not even just the tire, really. I mean, it comes down to like your differentials and your clutch, right? You're not going to want to wear that stuff out, and God forbid break something, you know, going into the next weekend because you wanted to celebrate and do a donut. It was similar to my experience when I podiumed during the Trois Rivières race with ARX. I didn't want to do a donut, not because I don't know how to do a donut, but because I didn't want that car to be damaged at all. That thing was a winner. It was fast. I wanted it to be perfect for the next event, and I didn't want to jack anything up. I don't know if that comes from asphalt racing backgrounds or whatever it is, or strategy play, but that's what went through my head, and I imagine that's what he was thinking too. You know, so.
Yeah. But yes, you know, kind of went on a tangent a little bit with Scott. But I thought that was kind of funny that he had never done a donut. But you should watch you should watch him doing it because he basically, like, obviously Scott is the guy's car control is amazing. So we all know he knows how to drive a car. So it's not crazy impressive that he could do the most amazing donut in a second attempt ever. But still, hand it to him. That was kind of cool that he admitted that and then
And then
killed
went
it.
out and just did
And
it
so
perfect,
that
yeah.
take was one take. So he,
Like literally just
yeah,
went
so
out.
he
Well,
went
there
out.
was no skid marks before that.
Yeah, so basically he had one out and he had done some donuts, in an open parking lot with this and by the way, this is a prototype one of one
VRZ.
vehicle. Yeah, well, at the time that they had this car, I guess it wasn't in production, so it was one of one.
Okay.
So it was more expensive essentially than like the Subaru car that was
Yeah, exactly.
Vermont sports car.
The last thing you want to do is just have
Yeah, like
Travis
that, and he's doing
absolutely
this-
kill it, and then you just put it in a pole
and they were
rip
doing
the
it in
bumper off.
between poles. So yeah, so he went out first attempt, did the donut. Travis came out, matched him first attempt, and it was
Well, that's
it was
rad.
epic.
I mean, it'd be cool to be a part of a gymkhana at some point, you know.
But yeah, so basically what we were talking about was that jump. So that was the final jump of that track, and then you come back on the straightaway. How big was that track? Do you remember?
Oh, distance-wise, I don't remember. I mean, I imagine it was less than a mile. Most of our tracks are. Right?
Yeah.
So it was definitely on the longer side.
Yeah.
You know, with the nature of Utah and UMC where they built it, but not particularly like crazy long. It wasn't like a 1.5 mile circuit, you know.
Right.
We've had that previously in GRC where we had tracks that were up to like 1.5 miles. I think Connecticut when we raced out there at Evergreen or something like
No,
that.
Evergreens in Washington.
That's
Connecticut
right,
was
yeah.
what was that place? I knew the guys. I knew the superintendent.
It's like Thompson Motorsports.
Yeah, it was Thompson Speedway.
Thompson Speedway.
Yeah, up
Yeah,
in
yeah.
northern Connecticut.
That was a cool event. I jacked up my neck, but otherwise that was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I went straight through a tire stack, and I think I hit it back-to-back laps, and I got like a minor concussion and some neck strain from it. So I wanted to get that checked out.
I remember. Yeah, you actually went to the hospital.
Yeah, I
remember.
took a nice ambulance ride by myself. That was fun. Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend that. Let's keep it on the track.
Yeah, you've been since I've worked with you. That's the second time. That was the first time, and the second time was on the trucks. So
That's
two
right.
times.
I didn't let
Um,
those guys drive me though.
yeah.
That was a bit of a sketchy ambulance.
All right, so we're getting on the 30-minute mark, so let's start wrapping it up. But basically, I don't know if there's anything else that we touched.
Yeah,
on.
well, we'll cover just one quick thing, and that's the stage rally stuff. You know, we're really interested in pursuing that further, primarily because, unlike rallycross, where I'm the only guy in the car, stage rally I get to have Corey beside me, and the whole day we're hanging out, we're talking over the comms. We were working with Dirtfish, so like basically second family to us, super cool, and they run a great program. But we really want to participate in some more stuff. I mean, Olympus was so rad. Now we have the 100-acre wood we'd like to do.
That's coming up shortly, so we
yeah.
gotta make a decision on that. I
I
heard
know,
Ken
yeah.
Block might be racing it.
Hopefully Justin doesn't see this.
heard
and
Ken
just
Block-
wasting our time.
I know. I heard Ken Block might be racing the limited four-wheel drive class.
That
which
if
is
you
the
know
class
if we
that
end
we're
up
in.
running 100-acre wood, it would be to beat Ken Block. By all
That would be
means.
cool.
By all means.
I
And
wonder what
then-
he's running though. I didn't ask my source.
I don't think the Kazi applies.
And the limited four now.
Maybe it does. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
But
who knows?
we also are both. We spent some time in New England. Corey's born and raised there, and then I spent about 10 years of my life there. So doing the New England Forest Rally would be super cool. Just to be
As you
back,
can see.
back on the East Coast. Yeah, go Sox.
Go Sox, go Patriots, go Bruins.
Go
right
Bruins,
now.
yeah,
Right now,
we'll
yeah,
hold
the
on the
Bruins are actually
Patriots.
playing at 4 o'clock, so we'll be watching that. And the Bruins, we should mention a little shout out to anybody interested, but the Bruins on the 20th, I think it is, the 21st,
Yeah.
playing in Lake Tahoe in our backyard.
Oh, it's going to be super cool. Unfortunately, they don't have any fans going to that event, but they're going to be right on the water there for their equivalent of the Winter Classic or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's like an outdoor, they do it in outdoor games basically. And this year, because of the COVID idea, they're doing this kind of pond hockey idea, so they basically built a rink on a golf course. Just
it's gonna be so rad.
on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe. Unfortunately, there's no fans, so it's even though it's within a half-hour drive from where we live, essentially.
We wanted to rent
can't
a
even
boat.
go there. Yeah, we were thinking about renting a boat. And
I don't think
going
there's
check it out.
any boat rentals that are tall enough to see over it, but
Yeah, it all depends. We should maybe pre-check the area.
we'll do some
Take a
scuba.
drone out and just look. Yeah, do some scuba. It's gonna be a little cold.
But otherwise, news with NRX.
I think they're gonna be releasing some information soon. So just
Yeah.
everybody keep your eyes open for that. I know we got some information, but we're not kind of allowed to say a lot.
Right.
I think.
But there's good things coming. And
Yeah, I mean, it's-
specifically this year, you can expect to see some rallycross events held by Nitro Circus. That's going to be awesome. Hopefully our track is involved with that for the 21 season. And besides that, you know, we aren't really at liberty to say much more on that topic, but if you keep following this podcast, I'm sure we'll be able to drop some more information to y'all. And yeah, keep an eye out for the electric stuff. That's huge. You know, that's going to really revitalize the sport in my mind. We need the support of the fans, though. You know, we can't just have these diehard ICE guys going, "Oh, rallycross is lame because now there's electric cars." You got to try and find the positives in this. You know, like it really helps all the drivers. It brings more talent and more people involved in, and the teams benefit too. You know, privateer teams that can't get that manufacturer support now have the option to, or you know, some sort of satellite program, that type of stuff. So that's good stuff. It's exciting.
All right, and just one final thing before we go. We are in a new shop.
Yeah.
And I want to call you out so everybody that doesn't know. There's if you can see back there.
This guy on the list,
Guy.
right here.
This is a Can-Am X3 that Cabot is working on.
Why am I working on it, Corey?
Well, you totaled it.
Yeah. And you can check my Instagram. I'm working on it now, showing some of the pictures of the damage. But yeah, hopefully we get that bad boy running up in the next month or two when the warm weather comes.
But yeah, this is our new shop. This is our Scanicast. We basically moved into the shop a month ago.
Yeah.
We're in Carson City. We're basically going to be here to help support our rallycross track that we're building. We're going to be able to service cars, build cars. We're going to do be able to do a lot of things in this facility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Specifically, you know, we're trying to create a program where I offer driver coaching, and this is where I work and maintain my vehicles, as well as do simulator training for some of the newer guys. And we're gonna work on trying to do some rallycross training, some stage rally training potentially, some shifter kart / go-karting training, and UTVs. You know, so we're trying to hit all the bases on that, get all the automotive gearheads in Reno involved, and show them rallycross and what it's all about.
And I guess we kind of agreed on what the name is going to be based on the domain.
Rallyborn.
Rallyborn. So one of the things here in Nevada. Say it right.
Apple.
Nevada. Apple.
Apple.
Nevapple. One of the things here in Nevapple is basically everything's, well, it's Battleborn, right? So
Battleborn is
the license plate.
yeah.
The state slogan is
slogan.
Battleborn.
Yeah.
So a lot of the companies we've been noticing around here have something born on them.
Like everyone.
Yeah, everything. Everything's something born, and it obviously made sense for like us to be Rallyborn.
Yeah. No, I
So
think it's a good idea.
Yeah. So that we have that domain.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna. The shop essentially is gonna be Rallyborn.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully there's some more exciting news with that. But until then, thank you so much for watching.
Before we leave, like how do they get a hold? Where do they find your stuff? Like where do they check out? I mean, obviously there's a lot of people watching right now, but we have a website, some other things. Tell them about it.
Oh yeah, so we have followtheham.com. That's my personal website. You can find most of my social media posts and everything linked to that. I'm also on Instagram at followtheham, Facebook The Big Ham, and we're in the process of creating the Rallyborn thing. For podcasts and content, you know, regarding video, the pigpen.tv is where you can find most of that. So I highly suggest checking that out. But otherwise, that's all we got.
That's all we got.
That's all we got.
Our new studios. So.
Yeah, well, so we got the really trick thing. You know, we're inspired by Joe Rogan, right? We got our coffee, we got 3 camera angles, and no, we're excited. And this is gonna be it's gonna be.
And I'm the director.
And he's the director, sitting here on his cute little computer. But yeah, no, so. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay posted for some more stuff. We're definitely going to be doing this every 2 weeks now that we have a home base, and we'll keep you guys posted with everything we can tell you.
And on the way out, we're just going to play the NRX promo for everybody to take a look at. This is the promo that NRX released on their website. So, all right, guys, take care.
From the mind of action sports icon Travis Pastrana.
This is the only course in the world where cars literally fly.
Comes the next evolution in motorsports.
This is our Super Bowl. This is our Daytona 500, our Stanley Cup playoff game.
Spectacular purpose-built courses.
We decided to build one of the wildest tracks ever.
Incredible locations, from the desert to the snow. Huge jumps.
Wow, it's like they're launching out of a machine gun.
And drama at every turn.
This is literally the best, the wildest rallycross in the existence of the history of rallycross.
Welcome to Nitro Rallycross.